Okay, friends, welcome back. Good morning. We will start with question number 21 to question number 30 of 2019 prelims paper. It is the third lecture of our 2019 prelim question discussion. We will take question number 21. Now, read the question carefully. Which one of the following groups of plants was domesticated in New World and introduced into Old World? Now, before attempting this question, you should be clear about what is New World, what is Old World. If you don't know about these, you won't be able to solve this question, and it is hardly even covered by any static book. Somehow, you have to use your understanding. You have to use your comprehensive understanding of all history, geography, and then come to the understanding of meanings of these words, and then you can easily solve this question. Okay. For your kind information, New Word is a word which was discovered since 14th century. It includes America, both North and South, then Australia, etc. And Old Word is a remaining word which was known to us since ancient time. It includes Asia, Europe. Asia including China, India, Japan. Europe including the Roman Empire, the Greek empires. Okay. So now with this understanding you can easily solve the question. Now you must firstly come to know which group of plants were domesticated in New Plant and introduced into Old World. Okay. New World, the plants which were there in New World, which and those are introduced into Old World. Now Old World is Asia, Europe. New World is America, Australia. We will first go with option 1, tobacco, cocoa, rubber. Then let us see you don't know. Come to option number 2, tobacco, cotton, rubber. Now Old World includes India as well, but cotton is present in India since Indus Valley civilization, even before that. So this option is gone. Come to third, cotton. Option gone. Even sugarcane. We have sugarcane since ancient time. Come to this. Rubber, coffee, wheat. Wheat is since ancient time. So these three options gone. Only one remains. So you might be knowing tobacco. It was introduced during by Portuguese in India. Cocoa, rubber, all three are from outsiders. They are brought by Europeans into India. Okay, and their plantation was started. So answer is 21A. But for this you need to know what is New Word and what is Old Word. Okay, come to 22nd question. Consider the following statements. The first statement, Asiatic lion is naturally found in India only. Double hump camel is naturally found in India only. One horn rhinoceros found in India only. Now, in general, people hear a lot that any statement with the words like only, exclusively, uh, such extreme words, they feel that like they are spoon fed that if a statement has these extreme words, that statement will be wrong. It is not that case. Okay, every time it won't be wrong. Firstly, that's why you have to use your knowledge first, then these tricks, these words like only, extremely, they their role comes later. Firstly, we have to think about our knowledge. Have we read about the habitat of Asiatic lion or the geographical location where they are found? Okay, so since our like school days, we know that Asiatic lion is found only in one national park or wildlife area in Gujarat, that is Gir National Park. You have not heard about it even in any other part of our country. Forget the rest of Asia. Okay, the first statement with our knowledge, even our basic knowledge, school level knowledge, the first statement is true. Come to second, double hump camel is naturally found in India only. I don't know whether you know this or not, or whether this is covered in our environment book like Shankar IS. But come to third, one horned rhinoceros is naturally found in India only. Now, you know that the species, they live according to their habitat and not by the political boundaries of a country. Okay, if one horned rhinoceros, if it lives in plain areas of Brahmaputra and its tributaries, it doesn't mean that it lives only in India or in Assam. It may be in the Bhutan or in Bangladesh. The word is naturally found. Naturally means its natural habitat, and that habitat is covered in both in countries like Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Bhutan. So third statement is wrong. Okay, you have to use your geography knowledge, then various information you gain from Shankar S environment book. Okay, if 3 is wrong and 1 is right, then only one answer. Right, there is no option with 1 and 2 in that option. Okay, right, any doubt? Now this is the most easiest question. Famous places and rivers. In general, like, it is quite difficult for us to know each and every place around a particular river. There are so many, more than 1,000 rivers in India, and there are so many places around or on the banks of those rivers. It is quite impossible for us to remember all the names of the cities on the rivers. Okay, now this type of question, where if your basic conceptual understanding or a content from basic source, this is a basic source content. Pandharpur, mostly the people from Maharashtra, they might be knowing this. Even if you know Pandharpur, this river name, in general we know river Bhima in Maharashtra. River Bhima, Pandharpur lies on river Bhima, but river Bhima is known as Chandrabhaga only in Pandharpur, not in any other part of Maharashtra, even in Karnataka. This you may or may not be know, but this is the most easy source, most easy way to solve this question. Hampi Malaprabha. Hampi is in on Tungabhadra. If you read themes in Indian history part 2, there is a chapter on Vijayanagara. There this word Tungabhadra has been mentioned at least 5 times. I will show you. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 7 times. That Hampi is on Tungabhadra, it has been mentioned 7 times in that book. So it's only the answer you can get from only this, whether 3 is right or wrong. If 3 is wrong, this gone. Only one answer. I don't even care whether Tiruchirappalli lies on Kaveri river or not. I don't even care whether Pandharpur lies on Chandrabhaga river or not. It does. Okay, any doubt? It's a very easy question, but people don't read seriously. They don't go deeper into various dimensions given in the book, various facts given in the book. Okay, casual reading, and that's how they lose marks. Come to 24th. In given year in India, official poverty lines are higher in some states than in others, because now your conceptual clarity regarding a poverty line should be clear. What is poverty line in India? It talks about food in urban 2400 kilocalorie per day in rural. So it talks only in terms of food. Okay. Now, poverty rates vary from state to state. Prices level vary from state to state. Gross state product varies from state to state. Quality of public distribution varies from state to state. Now you may feel at the start that all the four options are true, but somehow we have to choose the most appropriate answer. Okay, we will start with elimination. Firstly, it should be eliminated. We don't get poverty data from GDP. It is a GSDP, gross state domestic product. You won't get poverty data from GDP of a country, GDP of a state. Okay, quite clear? How much is the GDP of India? That doesn't show you how much poverty rate is there in India, right? At least you can remove this. Now you have three options. Come to fourth, quality of public distribution. If you see our definition of poverty line, public distribution is not directly related with kilocalorie consumption of the people. Okay, so it is distantly relevant, not even directly relevant. So you can remove this. Now these two. Poverty rates vary from state to state. If you see in terms of kilocalories of food consumption, this is more relevant than this. Price levels. If I am consuming, let us say, rice for my calorie consumption, if the price of rice is more in a particular state and less in another state, the poverty rates may vary. Clear? So the answer for me is this. We are not sure what could be the exact answer because UPSC is yet to release its official answer key. Till that time, that's what I feel. It could be the answer. It could be different. Come to question number 25. In the context of which of the following do some scientists suggest the use of cirrus cloud thinning technique and injection of sulfate aerosol in the stratosphere? It is like the question just before it. Here you can easily eliminate few of the options even if you don't know the exact answer. Okay, even if you don't know, at least start to eliminate something. Now see the keywords here. Firstly, it is the cirrus cloud. It is a very high cloud. Okay. Then second is, this keyword is stratosphere. You know that all the climatic activities happen in troposphere. Not a single climatic action happens in stratosphere. And then sulfate aerosol. You might be knowing sulfate. It is about climate change. To minimize the global temperature, rising temperature, sulfate is used. Okay. Now with these basic conceptual understanding, solve this question. Now creating artificial rain. You know that rainfall happens only in troposphere, and it is talking about stratosphere. Anyway, logically first is gone. Come to second. Reducing the frequency and intensity of tropical cyclone. It is irrelevant at all to the demand of the question. It is talking about tropical cyclones. That means the cyclones which happen in troposphere. Reducing the adverse effect of solar wind on the earth and reducing the global warming. Now see these words: climate change, sulfate aerosol. Among these two, this is the most relevant answer. Even if you have to think about solar winds, the impact of solar wind is towards poles, more towards poles, north pole, south pole. It is not impacting equally to the whole of earth. Just north and south poles are more impacted. Okay, answer is D. Any doubt? In the context of which of the following are the terms pyrolysis and plasma gasification? Most basic question. If you read Shankara's book, pyrolysis is directly mentioned. Pyrolysis means what? Hitting of the waste in the absence of oxygen. If I'm not, if make me right if I am wrong. Okay, pyrolysis means heating of oxygen in the absence of heating of waste in the absence of oxygen. Okay, it is talked in terms of waste to energy technology. It's a direct question. It should be solved just within few seconds. It should not take even more than half a minute, 30 seconds. If you are wasting more than that time, that means your preparation level has been not up to the mark. Okay, we will move to next question. Which of the following are in Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve? Now it is one of the tricky question. Firstly, you should know where the Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve situated. Okay. In general, this is the map of Kerala. Even if you know that the Biosphere Reserve is in Kerala, that won't help you in solving the question. You must know whether it is situated in the northern part of Kerala or southern part of Kerala. Only then you can easily solve this question. Okay. Now, in general, there are around 20 biosphere reserves. It is not difficult for you to make a list of 20 biosphere reserves and then revise them at least 4 or 5 times just before the exam. Okay. If you and whenever you are revising, try to draw those biosphere reserves on the map, so that you can easily identify the exact location of that biosphere reserve in Indian map. Okay, so I had done this activity, Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve. I knew that it is in the southern Kerala, and depending on that knowledge, I eliminated options and then I came to the answer. Now, first, I removed Kaval and Venkateshwara. Venkateshwara, Tirupati. Venkateshwara means Tirupati, and this Nagarjun Sagar. These words are in Andhra Pradesh. This is gone. Then come to this Kaundinya, Gundla, Brahmeshwaram and Papi Konda. This Konda word is especially in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, not in Kerala. Konda means hills in Andhra Pradesh. This is also not the part of answer. Now you may get confused between these two, A and B. Now your understanding of exact location of the Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve will help you in choosing the right answer between these two. I knew that it is in the southern Kerala. Depending on that, I removed this option, Wayanad. Wayanad is always in the news because of the highway between Karnataka and Kerala, which has limitations on night traffic. So, Kerala and Karnataka have border in the northern Kerala. Gone. Any doubt? Now, consider this question. Consider the following statements. Some species of turtles are herbivores. Some species of fish are herbivores. Some species of marine mammals are herbivores. And some species of snakes are viviparous. Now this is a very open-ended general question. The statements here are completely general. You can't actually deny these statements. First statement says some species of turtles are herbivorous. What does that mean? That means that some of the turtles are herbivorous, means those eat grass. Okay, and it is possible. You don't know how many species of turtles are there. They are not saying that all the species are herbivorous. They are saying some of the species. So first statement is true. Come to second. Some species of fish are herbivorous. There are thousands of species. We are yet to identify those species, and many of the species are herbivorous, vegetarian species. Come to third. Some species of marine mammals are herbivorous. Here all statements of some as a keyword. That means not all, but few of them might be vegetarian, or they are eating like veg food, herbivorous. Okay, and same goes with statement 3 and 4. So in general the answer is very general. Statements are general, answer is general. 1 2 3 4, all of them are right. Now this question is like question number 23. Question number 29 is question number 23. Here your focus should be on the fact which is given in a book, rather than focusing on other species which you might not have read in your last year current affair or anywhere in your basic sources. Firstly, blue fin mahashir, where you might have read about this. I think at least I had not read about this. Let us say I don't know, but first come to second, Iravati dolphin, Chambal river. It is directly given in Shankaraya's book that Iravati dolphin is not found in Chambal river. It is found in Mahanadi river. Okay, second is wrong. Remove 2. I don't care about like connection 1 and connection 3. Blue fin mahashir, I don't care whether I know it or not. Rusty spotted cat, I don't care. In general, your foundation should be strong. Whatever you are reading in basic static sources, that should be quite clear. Okay, then you can easily solve such questions. You don't have to worry about the remaining things like blue fin mahashir, rusty spotted cat, or in question number 23 where I don't care whether where is Chandrabhaga river, whether Pandharpur is on that river or not, whether Tiruchirappalli is actually on Kaveri or not. But if I know one fact, and if that fact is like a keystone, I can easily solve question. Same goes with question number 29. Any doubt? The last question. Why is there a great concern about microbeads? The most easy question. Every time it is in the news. Even if you read any kind of current affair, it is always in the news. Microbead is running a very important challenge for marine ecosystem. Why? Because they are consumed by the fish and various marine species. Here as well, if you have to just find a water related statement, they are considered as harmful to marine ecosystem. That's it. Nowhere water is mentioned in any of the remaining options. Even in that case, it's a very easy question. Okay, thank you for this. We will take remaining questions in the next video. Thank you for listening.